The arena in Indianapolis was already electric, but one moment on the Fever bench suddenly became the biggest talking point of the night. Cameras appeared to capture Caitlin Clark walking past Stephanie White following another intense exchange. And within minutes, fans across social media were replaying the clip over and over. Everyone started asking the same thing. Did Caitlin Clark finally reach her breaking point? Because to many viewers, this didn't feel like an ordinary coach-player disagreement. It felt much deeper than that. And for anyone who has followed the Indiana Fever recently, the signs of growing tension have been impossible to ignore.
Caitlin Clark going at it with an assistant coach on the bench. Caitlin was pissed.
Caitlin Clark and Brianne January heated on the bench again.
That lady in the middle seat, she was the one that grabbed Caitlin Clark while she was trying to celebrate last year. This is Brianne January, Stephanie White with the Connecticut Sun. Don't forget where you come from, okay? This is where y'all come from, and y'all can go back.
If you're a true Caitlin Clark supporter, drop CC 100% in the comments right now and show love to one of the biggest stars in women's basketball today.
Get your damn hands off me. Hey! You just have a bunch of mean girls surrounded by Caitlin Clark.
Fever may have walked away with the win, but after the game, almost nobody was focused on the scoreboard. The real conversation centered around the tension unfolding on the sideline. During multiple timeouts, cameras appeared to show Caitlin Clark in animated discussions with the coaching staff, gesturing in frustration and trying to explain what she was seeing during the game.
There's way too much grabbing and yanking and screaming and pointing. There's way too much of that going on over there in Indiana. I don't see it with superstars really anywhere else. But the Indiana Fever, they need to make it a show. They need to prove to Caitlin Clark, you're not good enough. We don't want you here.
Stephanie White continued responding, pointing things out and trying to settle the situation, but Caitlin didn't seem ready to let it go. Then came the moment that instantly caught fans' attention. After knocking down a massive shot and heading back toward the bench, Caitlin quickly celebrated with teammates before appearing to brush past Stephanie White without making eye contact. No smile, no reaction, just visible frustration in the middle of an already emotional night.
Stephanie White grabbing Caitlin Clark by the arm. Caitlin Clark saying, get your hands off me.
If Caitlin Clark is not allowed to play her game, this team will lose by 15 or 20.
Fans online immediately started jumping to conclusions, with many claiming Caitlin Clark has had enough of the current coaching situation. Whether that's true or not, one thing has become impossible to ignore. When Caitlin is allowed to play fast and freely, the entire Fever offense looks different. The tempo increases, the ball movement improves, transition chances open up, and opposing defenses suddenly struggle to keep up. That's when Caitlin looks every bit like the superstar fans expect to see. But when the offense slows down into constant half-court sets, the frustration seems to grow more visible with every possession.
Caitlin Clark doing what Caitlin Clark does, hyping up the crowd, getting the crowd rowdy. And here comes the coach. Here comes the coach grabbing her.
These coaches are angry because she's not running this offense. She's running the Caitlin Clark system. I'm going to be the most dynamic playmaker this league has ever seen, and it's not close. That's the system I'm running.
Y'all grabbing a girl when she's celebrating last season, grabbing Caitlin Clark. Who the hell y'all think y'all is?
Fans also noticed another detail during the game that only added more fuel to the conversation. Every time Caitlin Clark started catching fire offensively, she would suddenly head back to the bench. The crowd would erupt after a deep three or a momentum-changing play, and moments later, a substitution followed. As the game went on, her body language seemed to reflect growing frustration. During one sideline discussion, cameras appeared to show Caitlin passionately explaining her perspective, while coaches continued responding around her. To many viewers, it no longer looked like a minor disagreement. It looked like a star player who truly believes she knows what the team needs on the floor and feels unheard. A large portion of fans quickly sided with her, especially because the numbers became hard to ignore. When Caitlin controls the tempo, Indiana's offense often looks faster, more aggressive, and far more dangerous. But during stretches when she sits, fans feel the energy and pace noticeably drop. Social media exploded once people pointed out how heavily the Fever were being outscored during certain minutes without Clark on the court. The same question kept appearing everywhere. Why limit the one player who changes the entire game? What made the situation even bigger was the timing. Just days earlier, Caitlin had delivered one of the most exciting performances of the season, helping lead Indiana back from a huge deficit with deep threes, incredible assists, and complete takeover energy. Many fans believed that game would officially cement her as the unquestioned centerpiece of the franchise. Instead, the tension surrounding the team only seemed to grow louder afterward. Even the post-game reactions became part of the controversy. Some fans felt the coaching staff didn't fully celebrate or highlight Caitlin's performance the way they expected, which only intensified the discussion online. Now the basketball world seems completely divided. One side believes this is simply what elite competitors look like: emotional, demanding, passionate players who challenge coaches because they want to win at the highest level. Others believe the visible frustration and constant sideline tension are becoming unhealthy for the team environment. But one thing is becoming increasingly clear to fans watching closely. Caitlin Clark no longer looks like a player willing to quietly accept every decision without pushing back. And if these moments continue building, the Indiana Fever could find themselves dealing with something much bigger than ordinary coaching disagreements. To many fans, this is starting to feel less like frustration and more like a real power struggle inside the organization.
$8 tickets. 17,274 is what this arena holds. They had 14,505. At the beginning of last year, that were selling for 50 and 60 and 70 bucks.
We see what's going down with Amber Cox and Kelly Crosskoff. They are trying to promote the Indiana Fever. They're not even using Caitlin Clark. And you see the ticket sales dropping.
But the most shocking part of this entire situation may not even be the visible disagreements. It's the fact that Caitlin Clark looks emotionally drained, trying to handle pressure coming from every direction at once. Think about everything she walked into the moment she entered the league. Sold-out arenas, record-breaking TV ratings, non-stop media attention, and expectations unlike almost any rookie in basketball history. And despite carrying all of that pressure, she's still putting up massive performances night after night. 20-point games, double-digit assists, deep logo threes, highlight plays. The production has never really stopped. Yet somehow the conversation around the Fever keeps turning back to drama instead of basketball. And fans are beginning to think Caitlin fully understands what's happening around her. Early last season, she often smiled through difficult moments, laughed off frustration, and stayed visibly patient. But lately, many fans feel that patience is starting to disappear. The sideline interactions have only intensified those feelings. There have been moments where Stephanie White appears to be explaining something during games, while Caitlin's reactions seem to show growing disbelief and frustration. That's why the clip of Caitlin quickly moving past Stephanie White spread so fast online. Fans didn't just see frustration in that moment. They saw emotional distance. To many viewers, it looked like a player beginning to disconnect from the people around her. And for some Fever fans, that possibility is becoming genuinely concerning because when a franchise superstar stops fully buying into the coaching staff, situations can escalate quickly. What makes everything feel even more intense is the timing. Right now should be the moment the Fever are fully building around Caitlin's momentum. The WNBA's popularity has exploded alongside her arrival. Ticket sales rise, ratings spike, social media engagement jumps, and national attention follows wherever she plays. But instead of the spotlight staying focused on her performances, the narrative surrounding the team keeps shifting back toward internal tension. Fans also noticed another detail that added fuel to the discussion. Whenever Caitlin shows emotion on the court, celebrating a huge shot, hyping up the crowd, or bringing visible energy to the game, cameras sometimes appear to catch coaches stepping in to calm things down or pull her aside. Some fans strongly dislike those moments because they believe that emotion and confidence are exactly what make Caitlin special. They see that fire as part of the reason millions of new fans became invested in women's basketball in the first place. Many people online have also pointed out what they view as a double standard. Other stars across basketball openly celebrate, yell, flex, and show emotion without much criticism. But when Caitlin does the same thing, fans feel the reaction around her becomes far more uncomfortable and heavily scrutinized. That's a major reason why the narrative that she's done with the coaching staff has spread so aggressively online. Supporters believe she's starting to feel boxed in instead of fully empowered. And this is where the situation becomes risky for Indiana. Superstars eventually reach a limit when they feel restricted or unheard. If a player starts believing the system is holding them back or their voice no longer matters, frustration eventually becomes visible everywhere, on the court, on the bench, in body language, and even in post-game comments. Many fans believe they're already starting to see signs of that happening. What makes the discussion even more fascinating is that Caitlin is still producing at an elite level through all of it. She's still putting up huge stat lines, still controlling stretches of games, and still creating moments that capture the entire basketball world, which naturally leads fans to one huge question. What would Caitlin Clark look like in a system completely centered around her strengths and style of play? Because many people still believe Indiana hasn't fully unleashed her yet, and if the tension with Stephanie White continues becoming more visible, the pressure surrounding the coaching staff will only intensify. Social media already dissects every substitution, every timeout, and every visible exchange on the sideline. Every emotional moment instantly turns into another viral debate. At this point, one thing is undeniable. The relationship between Caitlin Clark and the Fever coaching staff is now under a massive spotlight. And after the moment where she appeared to walk past Stephanie White without acknowledgement, many fans believed the message was impossible to ignore. To them, Caitlin Clark looks tired of feeling controlled. Now, the biggest question is this. Is Caitlin Clark truly being held back by the Indiana Fever coaching staff? Or is this simply the kind of pressure every superstar eventually faces?